What the hell has happened to Breece Hall?
I don't think Rodgers went up to Woody Johnson and said, "Oh, he's going to fire Hackett, so you should fire Robert Saleh." Like, there's no way.
What is going on in New York? They just fired their head coach out of nowhere. Their defensive head coach, when their defense is playing amazing and their offense is playing like absolute shit, but their entire staff is not getting fired. I'm not sure what's going on in New York at all. You guys know what a Jets stan I've been on the channel all offseason, even last offseason when they acquired Aaron Rodgers. So I have to ask these questions to a Jets fan. I had Joe Scurto on the show today. He is the host of the Turn Up the Jets YouTube channel and Instagram page. He is an expert in all things Jets. I had him on the show to go ahead and give us an update on exactly what the hell is going on in New York. Jets are in the news today, and I bet you wish it was for better reasons other than firing their coach, but it's not all sour, right? You're going to give Jets fans some hope today. Hey, sorry for interrupting myself, but one quick reminder before you forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you can be here every single time I post. It's the free way you guys can support the channel. We're trying to build something special here very early on in the stages here. We only have 10,000 subscribers. We're trying to get 20,000 subscribers. The only way that's possible is if you guys support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, turn on notifications. In today's discussion,
I'll try my best. I'll try my best to have my optimistic hat on, but they're making it hard for me as always.
Oh man, I'm happy to talk to you again, man. As always, it's been a while. Good to get you back on here on the channel. I need to come on the Jets channel here soon because I love talking about the Jets. I don't know if you watched any of the MJT stuff lately. I have been fighting with Joe and Tony for months about the Jets, and they're kind of letting me down. My whole thing going into last season and this season is the similarities you can draw to Brady going to Tampa. When you look at what the defense has in New York and what they had when Rodgers came over, the weapons, the rushing attack, kind of all there. You just needed the quarterback, and now you're throwing a legendary guy in there. But then again, there is a difference between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and we're seeing that early on in this season. So far this year, before we talk about Saleh getting retired. He's not retired. Hopefully he's coming to the Chargers, actually. Before we get into the Saleh firing talk, just so far, the football on the field so far, like, what do you think about it with Rodgers?
It just doesn't seem like it's not there yet. I'm not going to go crazy. It's only been 5 weeks. But like things just seem off, not only just with like the receivers. I think him and Garrett Wilson finally got it together last week. I think Garrett had 13 catches, over 100 yards, but just everything. I mean, he just doesn't look comfortable, to be honest. Like it's like there's no creativity in the offense. There's no motioning. There's no play action right now because they have no run game. They're pretty one-dimensional. Rodgers threw the ball 50 times last week, and it's just quick. Like dink and dunks. I don't think we've seen one big play completed other than like Lazard scoring on Monday night, week 1, when the game was already over, when it was a free play. So it's had his flashes. Like it has. After that Patriots game, yeah, you can say what you want against the Patriots, but like physically he looked so good. He was able to escape the pocket and kind of make the offense flow. But like even last week, the first half was just dull. Dink and dunks, 3 and outs. It's the same shit, honestly. Like it seems like with the Zach Wilson offense, there's no creativity. So it's been there have been ups. It's not like the Jets are 0-5. Like they're very well like a couple plays away from being a 3-win team, maybe even 4-win team. I won't get that crazy, but maybe a 3-win team. But I'm hoping like that's the only thing I'm optimistic about. Like it will get better, hopefully. Just because he is Aaron Rodgers, even though last week those 3 picks. But yeah, it's inconsistency and a lack of creativity. I know that was a long answer, but
yeah,
that's kind of what I've seen.
I'm with you, and I think the biggest thing right now that's killing them, honestly, is the difference in the rushing attack from last year to this year. I mean, what the hell has happened to Breece Hall? Is there something that I missed? I think for the amount of carries that he's gotten. I think he has the lowest yards per carry in the entire NFL right now. Wasn't he first last year? Like what is happening, Joe, with Brees specifically? Because I feel like that alone, if they had the rushing attack going like they did at the end of last year, would have masked a lot of these issues that they're having in the passing game that can be worked out into the middle of the season, whether they acquire a receiver or not, which we're going to talk about also. Brees Hall, is there something that I'm missing? Is there an injury? Like, what happened to the night and day change?
Yeah, I don't think it's like obviously a town or a physical thing. Because they got Braylon Allen too. And I was thinking, hey, we saw Braylon Allen shine in week 2. This is going to be like one of the best 1-2 punches. He's only had, I think, 20 carries. He carried the ball 10 times each the last 2 weeks. It's kind of hard to be consistent there. And also you got to think there's a whole new offensive line. Like they're bringing 3 brand new starters into the offensive line. And then one of their brand new offensive line, and Morgan Moses, gets hurt. And then they have to bring in a rookie. So there's a lot of movement in the offensive line. And they really haven't proved to be very good in terms of like running, I guess, run blocking. So maybe that could be it. And they're also not involving him in the pass game other than like that Tennessee play that was unbelievable. Like there hasn't been, for a team that does a lot of dink and dunks, none of them have gone to Brees Hall, which makes no sense. And I think it goes back to the lack of creativity of the play calling, and that falls on Nathaniel Hackett, essentially, who's another guy who was very grateful to still have a job this morning because the word on the street was that they were going to actually have Todd Downing take over the play calling on Monday night. And then 5 minutes later, Saleh got called to Woody Johnson's office and got fired. So with Brees Hall, I think I feel the same way. He's just so talented. But yeah, there is something off though. And I felt that mid last year in which he wasn't hitting the hole. He didn't look confident. And then the last 6 weeks, he was the best running back in football. So I think I'm going to tamper my expectations of just like, hey, he's done. He's not going to do well this year. I still think there's a chance, but yeah, it needs to get fixed fast though. Cause like
that's what's killing me more than anything. Cause it's like, and we're going to talk about it right now with the Devontae Adams trade and stuff. It's like, how can we look at trading for wide receiver when we need so much help in the rushing attack right now? Brees Hall gets going again. They're going to have a good offense again.
Right.
And that's really what it's been. Rodgers has always seemed in his career to like be one step ahead, kind of always just ahead of you can't do that without a rushing attack. They know you're passing the ball. It's just that simple. It's the only way that the Jets have been able to move the ball efficiently down the field is through this dink and dunk as teams are backing off, like you're saying. All right, this is a good transition here. So we were just talking about Hackett. We're just talking about the play calling. Maybe you have the full story on this, and I don't yet. I've seen multiple reports already. I don't think we'll ever get the exact truth unless Robert Saleh does some kind of crazy tell-all, which he just doesn't seem like the type to do something like that. But what happened today? Like, what do you think happened? Let's just say that. You can fill in some blanks here. You know some stuff, but there's obviously some in between that had to happen from Saleh wanting to change the play calling over to what? Is he the passing game coordinator?
Downing, yeah. I believe it's the passing game coordinator. Yeah, he was basically like the assistant, the offensive assistant.
Yeah, which is usually what teams do when they're struggling with the offensive play calling is they'll go to the pass game coordinator, they'll go to the quarterback's coach or something like that. How do we go from that, which I think probably the right move with what's going on with the offense, everything you just told me, to Saleh just being fired out of nowhere? Not out of nowhere, but if you were going to fire him or if he was even on the hot seat, you should have done this in the offseason.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, if you were going to do this, it should have been in the offseason, or you can have justified it if you lose against Buffalo and you lose against Pittsburgh, you're 2-5. Now you're kind of down in the dumps. But there's another way to look at it. Like, maybe it would be too late if it was 2-5. Like, maybe your season's already over. I don't know. I really not sure what happened. Of course, everyone's going to say the obvious and say, hey, it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't want Nathaniel Hackett to get fired. And people all wanted to speculate, and people wanted to have those two, him and Saleh, have a bad relationship so bad to the point that they made a little push on Thursday Night Football against the Patriots. A huge deal, even though it was just kind of a competitive edge, if you will. But yeah, that's what the media wants you to believe. And I don't believe it. I don't think Rodgers went up to Woody Johnson and said, oh, yeah, because Rodgers wouldn't even known that Saleh would have made that decision. So I don't think he's going to be like, oh, he's going to fire Hackett, so you should fire Robert Saleh. Like, there's no way. It is Aaron Rodgers. He does have a lot of control, arguably probably the most control out of everybody other than the owner. But I don't think that was what happened. Essentially, Woody Johnson has never done this before. It's been, 25 years since he's been in ownership. He's never fired a coach midseason. So it's an all-in year. For me, I think this year is different than other years. You put so much, you put so much stake into a 40-year-old quarterback. You put all your cards on the table for a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles, and they have no spark. And Saleh is a coach who's 16 games under 500 and hasn't really been able to, overcome his mistakes. They still get stupid penalties. They still start slow. And this is with Rodgers. So I think it's more so getting a spark, but of course there's going to be a lot of conspiracies around like Rodgers was the reason.
Oh yeah, there's going to be conspiracies. And that's just the name of the game. Aaron Rodgers in New York. We kind of all knew that this was coming. If even like the smallest things get blown up, the head coach getting fired is going to get blown up and twisted a bunch of different ways. I honestly don't know how this is going to help too much. Maybe like you're saying, they're thinking, let's just get a change of some sort. And that's when the Aaron Rodgers thing comes in play. Not that Aaron Rodgers is on the phone with the owner of the team and making firings like that, but maybe more so the owner has in the back of his head, like, coach is coming to me saying that he is going to sit Nathaniel Hackett down, basically. He's going to demote him or whatever, fire him, whatever it was going to be. Like, the owner's just thinking in his head, is that going to be a move that's going to drive with Aaron Rodgers, who, like you're saying, we're completely all in with, right? Is it easier for me to get that change at the top of the team, like you're saying, try and create that spark without pissing off my legendary quarterback and firing his best friend? And it's like, but are we trying to keep Aaron Rodgers happy, or are we trying to win? Because the Jets with Zach Wilson, in my opinion, have had one of the best defenses over the last couple of years. And this year it was trending that way again. The defense wasn't even playing that bad, with losing a couple of key guys on the defensive line, the whole Hassan Reddick thing going down at the exact same time. Like, I felt like the defense was doing good. And the best path for the Jets to win games right now was through the defense. And yes, we're basically getting Saleh 2.0, getting upgraded into the head coaching position. He's basically just Saleh with a longer beard. But it's I don't know. I feel like you keep your head coach, you keep the guy that's keeping the defense together, and then just get in there and figure out what's going on offense. No one really needed to necessarily be fired here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like, why do you go to a defensive head coach and then a defensive interim head coach? Is because he's a former player. Like, he's been there. He's been in the NFL for a bit, I think 20 plus years combined. Coaching
and they can't hire Hackett. Like, then the media is going to literally light the building on fire.
Oh yeah, no, you lose the whole locker room with that. At least with Albrecht, he's beloved by everybody. He's a former player. He was a good player. He's been really the main guy who's been calling the shots on the defensive side the last 2 years, because allegedly Saleh has been focusing on both offense and defense, which is kind of BS. Bearing the results there, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just a spark. I knew Saleh was going to get fired. Should have he gotten fired? Yes, it should have happened, but I didn't think it was going to be today. Like, that just shocked me. Maybe if they lost against Buffalo, that they lost this week, or if they had gotten smoked by Minnesota, in which it was trending that way, they come back and almost win. But I think the locker room is just pissed off. Like, there was a lot of stars that were kind of pissed off at press conferences after that game. It's just like they're tired of the same crap of like fighting hard to the end and not seeing results, and the same thing happening. And maybe they'll get behind someone like Albrecht, who played for him. You kind of think about what the Raiders did last year with Pierce, but I think it's different because Pierce didn't have nearly as much experience as Albrecht has. Albrecht actually has called defensive plays, and he's been there for over 3 years. So hopefully hopefully it could work out.
And Pierce played out a season with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. Like, this is still very salvageable for the Jets. Like I'm saying, the upgrade with the head coach, it is almost like we're just kind of rinsing, we're just kind of washing the team off here, and we're putting Saleh 2.0 in at the helm, and we're going to continue to try and keep this defense strong, and then hopefully this offense figures it out. The firing, it's pretty wild, but maybe you're on to something there with them just trying to get a fresh start on the season, a fresh look. I mean, you can't erase what's happened, but we've seen it before where teams have kicked on after firing like this because they want to play for the next guy up. They want to give the new interim head coach a chance at being a coach next year, and everything in between. And we've seen it happen in the past so many times. The Jets being my second favorite team going into this season, that gives me some hope to hold on to, because I am getting ready to hop off the wagon, Joe. I'm very close to taking my shirt off, and going back to Baltimore is my second favorite team. But anyways, I appreciate you for coming on, Joe. Shout out your stuff for the people one more time, so that way that they get all the Turn Up the Jets stuff, and Jets fans that are listening to this specifically can go and follow you.
Yeah, for sure. Turn Up the Jets on everything: X, Instagram, YouTube. I've slacked the last month on YouTube, but that's usually where I've been posting most of my stuff now. So yeah, check me out, give me a follow, subscribe. Appreciate it.
Turn Up the Jets, y'all. Appreciate you for coming on, man. And then you guys support my stuff too, guys. We got the Sauce Gardner t-shirt. We got it in plain without the clouds and stuff, but I made this one because I'm a little bit of a stoner, so I made this design specifically for myself. These Jets that are flying out of the clouds have Jermaine Johnson, Quincy Williams numbers on them. You can't really see it through the video. Cool. We also have all the other teams. If you guys are fans of the other teams on the site, it's fifthdown.shop. You can see the Thorbert one back there. We're trying to be the Pokemon of football, and I think we might be starting something special here, but only if you guys go and support. So check it out. Link will be in the description, fifthdown.shop. You can just type it into your browser as well. If you guys want the Sauce Gardner gear, go follow Joe at Turn Up the Jets. I'll catch you guys next time we're on the channel. Will the Jets be able to salvage this season? I guess sooner rather than later. The ball definitely won't lie. Thank you for tuning in to another NFL Mike video. Now it's time to go make more football friends, or go and compete in the Mike's Pickems Challenge, or against me in daily fantasy football challenges by joining my completely free NFL group chat. Or head to fifthdown.shop and check out and see if we got your team's newest designs. Or now you can simply rep your favorite players without having to wear another team's gear. And then tag us in pictures of you wearing your Fifth Down merch for a shout out in the next episode of NFL Mike's Corner, and help us reach our goal of getting 1,000 NFL fans wearing Fifth Down. Or you can head to the next NFL Mike video by clicking it. It's on your screen. Go ahead.